On January 24, 1848, John Marshall discovered gold at Sutter's Mill. This is my ode to the 300,000 who traveled to California to call themselves miners.
Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee, and I'm bound for Louisiana, my own true love for to see.
Who are the California gold miners? They are fearless and willing to take risks. They gave up the comforts of home and family to search for gold. Most of them never looked back.
We don't work anywhere near as hard as they work just to survive. Most of the guys, the vast majority of the guys who work the mines, the streams and so forth up here, did not make a way of life for themselves or accumulate a lot of things and so forth. They just went from day to day and met their daily needs. They didn't have a savings account, and so forth. There was no college education set aside. It was just survival from one day to another, and that's all they cared about, was surviving and pursuing their dream of maybe hitting it big and finding a strike that produced a whole lot of gold for them.
Mark Twain captures the essence of the miners in his novel, Roughing It.
We climbed the mountainsides and clambered among sagebrush, rocks, and snow, till we were ready to drop with exhaustion, but found no silver, nor yet any gold. Day after day we did this. Someday! It seemed far enough away and very hopeless and dreary. Day after day we toiled and climbed and searched, and we younger partners grew sicker and still sicker of this promiseless toil.
Some could call it greed, but I think it was spirited courage. Before the nation defined the American dream as having a nice family, a house, and a car, gold rush miners created their own dream. Go west, work hard, and if you're lucky, find gold. The idea of striking it rich symbolizes a need for liberation over oppression and conformity. For those who did never strike it rich, they became part of the ideal vision of humanity, freed from the boundaries of civilization. We often forget who built our nation, who defined our dreams, and who toiled on our soil. Literature, however, never lets us forget. Miners capture the spirit of Romanticism, which teaches us to disregard our logic and instead embrace our emotion and imagination. Miners abandoned logic. For most people, it made no sense to abandon the comforts of civilization and head into uncharted, dangerous territory. But for the miners, imagination and emotion drove them to venture into the unknown. Why? Freedom. Gold became the epitome of freedom because wealth would allow miners to live however they wanted to.
You're always going west, there's always something new. So that's kind of what it stood for. It's like, you don't like your old life, you move west. That was the spirit. And so, but it's still there. In other words, okay, it's time to move on. So things are not going well here, and I want a better life, so you move. Of course, nowadays you can be moving anywhere.
Today it is so easy to work hard and succeed. Back then you worked hard, extremely hard. So back then, even if you did succeed, you didn't have much life left to enjoy what you got out of it. Our length of life today is so much longer. We have so many things to choose from as far as our wants. We don't live looking at our needs today. We live and get excited about the things that are produced that attract our attention, and it's gee, I got to have one of those, So, but it wasn't like that back then. It was just how do I provide for tomorrow, and how do I keep alive today, and so I can have it tomorrow, and maybe hit it rich. Very few did. Very few did.
O miner, how my eyes observe you behind a frame that keeps your memory from yellowing. Do the curators want you to stay preserved for all time, as I too want you to never fade away from this existence? Under this pavement that I walk upon, you sweated, you ached, you dreamed differently, you wandered fearlessly, to a place full of danger and prospects. Though I have no more west to go to, I have a fever too. I want your yearning for freedom. I want your dreams. I want your courage. And I want your gleam. Gleam, O miner, you may not have found, but it was the gleam in your eye that caught me as I stood watching your picture fade. So the West will rest in my mind, a place where adventure is hard to miss, and a world that is known to few who dare to dream, explore, and toil awaits. O miner, what few who remember will come to praise you, singing exalting hymns of your sculpting of America. Behind the frame you wait, and call me, saying, Go west, go west.